All right, so I want to have a conversation about the 35 plus year old man, right? Older men, mature men, beginning to be seasoned, right? So this was a question that was posed to me. I appreciate that. So we're gonna have that discussion about what it takes for these type of dudes to level up. Now I did a video. I'm not exact. I got like 10 videos that are already scheduled to be released. So I can't remember if I released it or not. But if I didn't, it's coming. About what somebody wanted me to tell 50-year-old men. So I kind of addressed this a little bit, particularly successful men. But it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, this I believe lady wanted me to address 35-year-old men who don't have it together yet. I got a ton of videos coming out about that, about dudes who just don't seem to have it together yet, don't know where they want to go, nor the path to take to get to where they want to be, if they knew where they wanted to go in the first place. So listen, man, Frederick Douglass said it's better to raise properly healed, well-off, well-adjusted children than to try to fix broken men. So, that's there's not much more I can say about that. We gotta start with these kids young. So I think I did a video. I know I did a video about men raised in the matriarchy, where I addressed about how to do this. Men need to be present. Men need to be a part of their lives. Men need to be in the homes, right? So yes, when you see these 35-year-old men who don't seem to have it together, or the 50-year-old successful man who is together, how do you convince these type of men to get married, right? So one dynamic of the 35-year-old man who doesn't have it together yet, is still playing around, maybe he's in the streets or whatever. And then you got the 50-year-old man who, I kind of addressed this before, so I don't really want to belabor this point. But you got to give that 50-year-old guy who's got it together, a business professional, degree, got his own businesses, flipping houses, doing whatever he's doing, and he's got it together, and you want him to settle down. What am I going to tell this dude, right? Part of the problem with the Cam Newton situation, this so-called Peter Pan syndrome and all this type of stuff, is that it's rewarded. These guys, Cam Newton, Nick Cannon in particular, in dealing with Dr. Bryant, is that these dudes they're living a good life. They're out dancing, they're out partying, they're plenty of women. So why should they think about the consequences of their actions? I think that they should, because I think that they're creating broken homes. And as was brought to my attention, this is their background and environment that Dr. Bryant comes from. And so she knows the trauma, the problems, the feelings of low self-esteem. I myself come from a single parent home. I know my low self-esteem problems. So these sins that these fathers are committing are going to be visited upon the children and their children's children. So, you got to get them to see that. So, these 35-year-old men who are out here playing around, they made it. Somehow, some along the way, they have been enabled. They have been able to stay at some lady's house for a few weeks. They have been able to stay the night. Maybe they did a bid. Maybe they stay at their boy's house. Maybe they live in their mama's basement. There's all different type of enabling activities that have gone on in their life that have made it to the age of 35 minimum and don't have it together yet, right? So, and they may not ever get it together. Now, the picture that I put up, and people keep wanting me to address men. And I've been doing it. I got a whole playlist talking about men. So, as I did one of my latest videos, as I record this, I'm looking through the comment section, and I come across this comment. I'm actually going to black this guy's name out, because he's this type of person that I'm assuming. I don't know anything about him. I'm just going off of the words that he said. And you can read it right here, right? Where he says that, if you do things right, they will have you. They will be buying you stuff. That's not me. I'm not a materialistic person. I'm not a person that is a using type of person. I'm not that type of person. And I think that he, unfortunately, is exemplifying exactly the problem. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with a woman buying you gifts, but this idea, that I got to perform a certain type of labor in order to get a woman to buy me a PS5 or whatever. Listen, I'll buy my own PS5. I'll buy my own plane tickets. I'll take my own summer vacation. I mean, that's the life that I live. Now, it may be just a different morals, values, and ethics, and this is why I'm talking about the 35-year-old guy. I don't know who this person is, but I'm just saying that this is the dynamic, and here it is in real life. If women weren't taking care of him and buying him stuff, he wouldn't be able to say what he said. Some women go for it, some women don't. That's what he said. Listen, I recognize you join the police academy, right? One of the major themes I tell you is that you're not gonna you come in this job, you go in this job thinking you're gonna save the world, you're gonna make a difference. In a police academy, they'll tell you you're not gonna make a difference. But you still have it when you walk on the street. Oh, I'm gonna be different. It's my sheriff. I'm the new sheriff of town. I'm gonna make this. 10, 15 years later, probably sooner than that, there's no way that anybody thinks along those same lines anymore. So listen, I don't think that a few YouTube videos that I'm putting out are going to change things, but I do think that if you watch these videos, adopt a new personality, or not personality, but frame of thinking, then you can raise your children differently. You can talk to your little kids differently, and this can slowly erode some of this type of stuff that we unfortunately have going on within our communities. That's not me. I'm not trying to down anyone, but that's just not me. So let's take a look at the progression of this type of person in conjunction with the 35-year-old plus man who does not have it together, who's couch surfing, who's a hobo sexual, doesn't have a place to live, but he's using women for sexual gratification, and they're buying them stuff, right? Feelings, emotions get attached, particularly by the ladies, right? And then next thing you know, there are things are being taken. Right? I'm taking this PlayStation. I'm taking this clothes I bought you. I don't have those type of arguments. I do not have those type of arguments. Nobody's taking my PlayStation because they bought it for me. Nobody's taking my clothes because they bought them for me. Nobody's taking my jewelry, my chains, because they bought it for me. Incidentally, my kids bought this for me as a Christmas gift. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. Nobody has anything on me. Nobody has anything on me. That's the type of life I live. No woman, no man, nobody can call me. Nobody right now can call me up and say, "Listen, man, you owe us. You owe me a favor." Now, I think probably the closest that people could say is that you got to know somebody to get a job. So yeah, but you kind of pay that back, right? So I know people who kind of hook me up with the job placements. Actually, yeah, one job, of the 4 universities I teach at, only one helped me to get a job. So if he calls me for anything, I'm with him. But we're naturally friends, give and take, right? But this is why we can't get anything done in politics. People just owe people. People just owe people. So nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes me anything, and most importantly, I don't owe anyone else. That's more important. I don't owe anyone else. I probably should have left that. I don't owe anybody any type of favors. So this idea that you gotta do this, that, and the other, and all right. Listen, my charming, sparkling personality don't grab you, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. And I gotta do all this work. And his point is, right, you do all this work and you reap the benefits and reward through physical stuff. That just ain't me. That just ain't me. That just ain't me. It may be other people, but that just ain't me. And I don't really kind of rock with or do the whole. I don't really like talking about the love language stuff. I think that's kind of more psychological crap. But anybody whose love language is gifts, I don't deal with people like that. I wouldn't deal with a woman like that. If she tells me, if that conversation ever came up, I would never ask a question. But she, a lot of times ladies ask, what's your love language? I'm like, I don't know. Probably just I don't even know. I really don't know what it is. I took the test one time and I can't remember what it was. But if they told me that theirs is gifts, it's over. Because I'm not just randomly buying you gifts. I'm not just randomly wasting my money. I'm not doing it. This is me. This is me. So, So listen, I this philosophy, man, about it's just a different way of viewing the world. It's just a different way of viewing the world, and I just don't view the world that way. That just isn't the way I get down. It's not the way I move. It's just not the way I process the world. It's not the way I see it. I want to be my own man. And I don't want to owe anybody anything. I don't want to have arguments about I bought you this, I bought you that. I did this for you. I bailed you out of prison. I did that. Those aren't conversations I ever had. They're not conversations I ever had. I'm telling men to man up and be the strong, independent boss man that these ladies are claiming to be. And I don't understand how anybody could look at themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, I got this from this girl. And it's a finesse game. This girl's buying me stuff. I'm banging her back out. All right. I mean, listen, it could be I'm doing something wrong. It could be I'm doing something wrong. It could be. But I like my life. I like the way I live. I like the way I move. So these guys out here, man, who are just doing it, but they're rewarded. Everything is symbiotic, right? Everything's give and take. Everything is transactional, and they wouldn't behave that way. They wouldn't be able to operate that way if the ladies wouldn't do it. Now, if you're a lady who's okay with that, and if you're a lady who's got to give gifts and do this and that, I can't. Man, we talk about this stuff. We talk about this stuff, and I don't think a lot of times ladies understand. Ladies in my comment section really understand, what other ladies are doing. I really don't think that a lot of times they understand what these ladies out here are doing, how they're moving. I'm telling you that I've seen high class, well-educated women at 2 o'clock in the morning calling us to get some Pookie and some Ray Ray out of her house. Or banging on his door trying to get in. Bailing him out of jail at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've seen it. So the 35-year-old, listen, they got to wake up for themselves. I teach criminology, criminal justice. All these different programs that have 30% success rates and all this kind of stuff. One day they got to wake up and say, I'm tired of my ways. And it is possible, right? I think if I can find it, I'll put up a screenshot of a guy who did time with the state and now successfully owns 3 restaurants. So they can wake up. I'm not saying it's over. I'll never say that about anything, right? As long as you have breath in your lungs, right, you can continue going. You can keep making moves. You can keep making things happen. You can certainly turn things around. I don't think it's ever too late, but it's hard. It's hard for these type of people because they have been so used to, so accustomed to their ways that they just get used to it, right? And why should they? You know, and this goes to the idea about, making sure that men are able to stand on their own 2 feet, 17 and 18-year-olds. Otherwise, you get these men who are dependent upon women, who are living off women, sponging off women. Can't make it up. Can't make it up. So I just want to drop that for a minute here. I think there was something else I wanted to add to this, but it's eluding me. So I talked about the 30-year-old man. It's eluding me what else I want to talk to. 35 plus year old man, the 50-year-old man. So let me just also say about the 35-year-old man, right? So listen, don't be out here. Just what I would definitely say to them, particularly as far as a relational type of thing, is just be upfront and honest. As the guy said in a screenshot that I took, some women will go for it, some women won't, right? So just be honest. This is what it is, right? I don't have no job. This is what's going on. Whatever's whatever, Put the game on. Talk to them real nice. I'm looking for, whatever's whatever, right? The whole, what is it, Idaho prison, whatever, male, and men and women are doing it, right? Right, going on these people's pages and sending them money and writing them and stuff. I used to tease my ex about that. I don't like it. Why am I working? People out here, they're doing what? Why am I? We're the stupid ones. We're the stupid ones. Right? I don't want to get off of prison inmates, but listen. This is what it is. This is what it is. So, I mean, can they turn things around? Are you a 35-year-old man plus man, or 33 or 30 or whatever, and you're sick of this, man? You want to become your own man. You're sick of those types of arguments I just talked about. Somebody thinks that you owe them. You got to do this. You got to do something you don't want to do. They got to force you to do things and twist your arm, and you owe them. And if you don't do it, then they'll kick you out, or they'll take away your stuff, or cut off your cell phone. I remember this girl, the time, man. PD, man. All these stories everybody has, right? Or every police officer or whatever, man. She kept calling. She kept calling the PD like once a week. Like, this man keeps cutting off my phone. I'm like, well, I mean, go get your own phone and stop sleeping on it. I'm not sleeping on him. He's just, he's helping me out. She was sleeping with him. I mean, you owe people. And then you're lying about it. So you just be honest and don't lie about it. You can't deceive people. You can try to deceive people, but you can't deceive yourself. And eventually the truth is going to come out. So just be honest. That's what I would say to a 35-year-old guy. Because when you're not honest, and when you're lying and pretending to be something, and you're telling them I want a relationship and you don't really want a relationship, when you're telling them that you're not married and you really are married, you don't have kids and you do have kids. I only got 1 kid, meanwhile I really got 3. Somebody wrote in my comment section, I met this guy and he was, or I think it was an email, I met this guy and he told me he was 60, in his mid 60s, meanwhile he was really 70. And she's like, why are you lying about that? This. Oh, and he was not only 70, but he was also still legally, technically married. And she told him he wasn't. Listen, they do it because this type of behavior is rewarded. I brought up the lady who did the TikToks, 50 so odd TikToks or whatever it was. Who the heck did I marry or whatever. All about not vetting, all about not taking your time, all about somebody not being honest, checking their stories. I got a bunch of friend requests, so-called, or connections, I should say, on LinkedIn. A bunch of people linked. They're checking me out. Who is this guy? You should do that. You should do that. Who is this guy? What's he talking about? When I first went to school, I was talking to the head of the criminal justice department for my doctorate. And he starts telling me all these stories about people he knew that, claimed to have doctorates. You know, a lot of them were ABD status. That means all but dissertation. You did all the work, but you didn't do the dissertation, which is the actual research, right? Doing surveys and, you know, mathematical analysis and all that kind of stuff, right? Depending what your degree is in. So they had done all that and didn't do it, right? So, you know, there's people out here claiming to have credentials and they don't have them. So people want to know, do I really? It's common. It's good, but listen, everything you find out where I used to work at, you call them up. Oh yeah, I used to work here. You really was a captain. Oh yeah. Yeah. If I go to right now, right? It's good to have a good name, good reputation. I go to right now, people there. Last time I saw this dude, he's like, man, when are you coming back here? Can you unretire and come back here? We need you. We miss you. That's where you want to leave any company. You don't ever make people glad twice. Do not ever make people glad twice. You don't want them you want to make them glad that you're there. You showed up. I'm glad you came. But you don't want to make them glad that you go. You don't make people glad twice. So listen, I think that's about it from this. There is something that's really, I know it's going to hit me as soon as I hit stop, about that I really wanted to talk about and address concerning this whole male thing and all this. But the 35-year-old man, the 40-year-old, the 50-plus-year-old man who doesn't want to, here's what I do remember now. The 50-year-old man, so we can talk about the 35-year-old man who doesn't have his stuff together, the 50-year-old man who does have his stuff together, and somebody's calling me right now. Where's my phone? Oh, it's ringing. What was that? I can't see it. The 50-year-old man who has never been married. The 50-year-old man who's never been married, is that a red flag? I think in today's culture, it probably is, quite honestly. It could be that the man just kept himself together and all that. 50-year-old man who's never been married, no kids, is it a red flag? That's a separate question than the 50-year-old man, professional man, who's got it together. I gotta pay attention to that while I'm driving. So the 50-year-old guy who's never been married, no kids, is it a red flag? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that it is, particularly in today's society and all that. But, you know, just do your vetting. He may have been a responsible person who didn't want to get married, and now at the age of 50, he's ready. Maybe he was traveling in the military. Maybe he was, just living a life and, you know, working on himself. But you know, it could be that there was an issue. It could be that there is an issue, right? So there's, you know, I would really just do my due diligence. All right, sorry about that. So let me finish this off here. So my GPS kept shutting off, so I had to get to my destination before I try to finish the recording. I don't want to make fun of those or try to belittle those who are less well endowed and all that, because I've heard stories about that where people try to hide things and all this kind of stuff. So listen, a 50-year-old guy is probably, I would just move very, very cautiously and ask all the right questions and just try to move in that way. So to the 35-plus-year-old guy who's, you know, still not together, it is what it is, right? You got to stop rewarding that type of system. And I would not, if you're a good woman and you know your value and your worth, why would you? I mean, do you want to support a man? Do you want to buy him stuff and buy his clothes and give him a place to live and make sure he's fed and all this kind of stuff? Is that what you want? Or, just being, this whole idea of finessing, and this goes both ways, men and women, just finessing each other, just finessing each other, just trying to get as much as you can. It's purely just transactional. If you can't take me out to dinner, then don't call me. All right, well, listen, I'm not going to call you then. These aren't conversations I'm willing to deal with. 50-year-old guy who's got his stuff together. What am I going to tell him? He's got the world. Same thing with a 50-year-old guy who's never been through whatever. I mean, a 50-year-old guy who's maybe divorced and doing well for himself. He's got the world. And a 50-year-old guy. I mean, you should still try to talk to this guy and try to figure out, what he is and make sure his story lines up. Do your due diligence, background checks. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Check him out. Google his name, all that kind of stuff. So I went through all that through the vetting process. So that's what it is, and you just got to do your due diligence and make sure that you are getting the best bang for your buck and the best product. So what do I say to a 35-year-old guy? Is this the way? Are you happy with your life? Are you happy mooching off of people? Are you happy just kind of floating by? And listen, I know it's hard out there. I know it's hard, jobs, who wants to take out student loans, and all that, right? But you got to make a decision about where you want to go in life and how you're going to get to your destination. So, hope I answered your questions. Much love and peace. Hit me in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Subscribe, share, like the video.